Are you making the Roth conversion mistake that destroys millions in tax-free wealth? You've probably heard that conversions can save you thousands of taxes, and they can. But after reviewing hundreds of plans, I found that one small timing trap can quietly erase over $1 million from your savings. So in this video, I'll show you the hidden mistake most people miss and how to keep your plan safe from it. To start, I'm going to show you how the Roth conversion mistake begins and why most people never see it coming. Meet John and Linda. They're both 60 and have over $1 million saved in their IRAs. But when they start planning for retirement at age 65, they're shocked by what they see. Because nearly all their savings are pre-tax, every dollar they withdraw shows up as income. And when we project that forward, their tax rate actually ends up higher in retirement than it was while they were working. That means more taxes, higher Medicare costs, and less freedom to spend how they want in retirement. So to get ahead of it, they started a Roth conversion plan. Simple idea: pay some tax now to save a lot more later. Over the next 5 years, they decide to convert $200,000 per year, splitting their $1 million balance evenly until retirement. You'd expect this to save thousands, but when we run the numbers, you'll be shocked by what happens. They end up with over $1 million less than if they'd done nothing at all. And they're not alone. This is the same trap thousands of retirees fall into trying to avoid future taxes. But the good news is, the costly mistake John and Linda made is actually easy to avoid. Let's go back to their tax bracket over time. The goal was to pay some tax now to avoid these higher taxes later on. But here's where things go wrong. When they move money from their IRA into a Roth, it counts as taxable income for that year. And that income stacks on top of what they're already earning from work, pushing them right into the higher bracket they were trying to avoid. But the real damage isn't their tax bracket. It's what happens to their savings. Roth conversions mean paying the tax bill up front. And for John and Linda, that money comes straight out of their accounts, shrinking their balance right before retirement. With smaller accounts, they're more exposed if the market dips early on. And that risk shows up right here. Their plan's probability of success dropped from 87 to 84%. Instead of the confidence that should come after saving $1 million, they're now risking whether the money will last. So now that you've seen this, here's how to turn Roth conversions from an irreversible mistake into massive tax savings. When most people talk about Roth conversions, they ask questions like, how much should I convert? Or what's the best way to pay the taxes? But these miss the most important part. See this area here between age 65 and 75? This short stretch after their income drops, but before required minimum distributions begin, is what I call the golden window. During that time, their tax bracket is temporarily lower, and that's the opportunity you can't afford to miss. So instead of converting while they're working, let's delay those conversions until retirement and stop them at age 75 when RMDs kick in, filling the 22% bracket every year. And look at the difference. $200,000 added to their portfolio and nearly $400,000 less in lifetime taxes paid. But it's almost never this easy because of one key detail. The golden window isn't the same for everyone. For some, waiting until retirement could be a six-figure mistake. Let me show you why. In our first example, John and Linda both worked until 65, then had a few low-income years before RMDs began. That was their opportunity to save. But now, let's make a couple small tweaks that completely change how their plan plays out. This time, John still plans to retire at 65, but Linda retires now at age 60. And instead of relying only on Social Security later on, they'll each have pension income, about $7,000 per month total between the two of them. Once we make that change and go back to their income curve, take a look at this. For the next 5 years, while John is still working and Linda's retired, their tax bracket is lower than it'll be once they're both retired. Later on, they'll have pensions, Social Security, and required distributions from their IRAs. But right now, their only income is what John earns from work, which means their golden window isn't later anymore. it's right now. So to take advantage, we move those Roth conversions forward. We start now and fill up the 22% bracket until John's retirement. And look at the impact. By taking advantage of that earlier window, John and Linda end up with a much bigger portfolio and nearly $500,000 in tax savings. But here's the thing. Most retirees never get that outcome. Not because they can't, but because they miss 3 key factors that drive nearly all the savings the golden window provides. Let's start with the first one. Let's go back to the base case for a second. This is John and Linda's original plan. They both retire at 65, get their Roth conversion timing right, and save a few $100,000 in taxes. Here, we're filling the 22% bracket each year. But what if they played it safer? Cautious about converting too much too fast. If instead of filling the 22% bracket, they only converted up to the 12, watch what happens. Even with perfect timing, their savings are cut almost in half. Now, let's flip it. Once people see how powerful Roth conversions can be, it's easy to get carried away. So let's see what that looks like. If they convert all the way up to the 35% bracket, they actually end up with nearly $100,000 less. They got trigger happy and pushed themselves into a rate that wipes out the benefit. So the first key factor is knowing exactly how much to convert and which bracket gives you the best long-term result. But even if you get that part right, there's another factor that can quietly wipe out the savings you thought you were getting. We just looked at how much to convert, filling the right brackets to get the most tax savings. But most people only think it's about one set of brackets, the ordinary income brackets they've always known. And in retirement, there's another set that matters just as much, Medicare brackets. Your Medicare premiums are based on your income, and when that income rises, like during a Roth conversion, it can push you into higher cost tiers. Watch what happens when we switch this view from income tax brackets to Medicare premium tax brackets. Each one of these lines is a new threshold. Every time John and Linda cross one, their monthly costs jump. $88, then $220, then $353, and so on. That's called the IRMAA surcharge, and those extra costs add up to tens of thousands of dollars over time, quietly offsetting the tax savings they thought they were getting. So the second key factor is this. Always check how Roth conversions affect your Medicare brackets. Failing to plan for those IRMAA surcharges can undo years of careful tax planning. And once you've nailed your tax brackets and planned for Medicare, there's still one more piece that can quietly take a big bite out of your tax savings. If John and Linda retire and their only income is Social Security, they could receive every dollar of their benefits tax-free. But once they start adding Roth conversions on top of that, everything changes. In 2025, once your taxable income crosses $44,000 as a couple, up to 85% of your Social Security can become taxable, reducing the amount you actually receive by thousands. So before you start counting the savings from your conversion strategy, you need to consider the impact on your Social Security benefits. One powerful way to maximize those savings is to delay Social Security, even if it's just for one spouse. Doing that gives you a few extra years in a lower bracket to complete conversions. And once your income drops later on, you'll keep more of that bigger benefit instead of giving it away to taxes. Now, I'm not saying everyone should delay benefits just to save on taxes, but for couples who can, coordinating Social Security and Roth conversions can add up to thousands more in lifetime income. So now you know exactly how to turn Roth conversions from $1 million mistake into one of the most powerful tax saving tools in retirement. But here's the thing, even the best tax plan won't matter if you spend retirement constantly checking your accounts, worried about what the market will do next. Watch this next, and it'll show you the one piece of data that helps retirees finally stop worrying about their investments and start enjoying retirement.